everybody. Welcome to Political Football. My name is Dave. I'm here with our special guest tonight, Mr. Matty Ice. Matt, how we doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I am currently effed in a way that I can't mention here because of my current employment status, but I think you understand the F word that I'm speaking of. So I am right now, I got nothing but time, Dave.
Yes, the F word you mentioned is fumbling the ball for no reason at the goal line.
Are we really going to start there? Because I have many thoughts about this, but let's not get
Yeah,
crazy too
yeah.
quickly.
We're going to start there, but you may notice my name here is Amari DiMarcado greater than Trump. And last week it was AD Mitchell greater than Trump. So we do seem to have an epidemic of players just dropping the football before running in the end zone. So
I think the biggest part for me that was such a struggle is I thought in that moment I had become a boomer because I was so angry about that particular thing. And I realized, no, that's not crazy. He's not celebrating and I'm angry. He literally couldn't get over the fucking goal line. And that is his entire job. So I felt a little bit better in that moment because I thought, oh my God, I've moved into boomer territory and I am way too young and way too, what's the word I'm looking for? Reasonable to make it there.
So I had a boomer celebration moment, or what I thought was a couple weeks ago. Michigan played at Nebraska.
Yes.
Michigan's defense makes a huge stop to get off the field. It's basically going to salt the game. They're up 10. They're going to get the ball back. Nebraska's going to stop the run. This game's over. And safety Brandon Hillman from Michigan is facing the Nebraska sideline and starts doing like the catch is good motion, but thrusting his hips provocatively at the same time. And it was like stupid, uncalled for. What are you doing? Michigan's obviously better than Nebraska. Like, what are you trying to prove here? Nebraska gets the ball. They don't do much with it, but, it kept the game going. And I was like, am I being a boomer? But the next day was the Amon-Ra St. Brown hot mic, which was phenomenal. And I realized, no, I'm not a boomer.
No,
it was that celebration in particular that got me. It's not celebrations in general. Something with DiMarcado and AD Mitchell. Like, just get across the goal line first and literally do anything that isn't assault on somebody else.
just, oh my God. I mean, I texted you guys about it because I just thought, how in 2025 are we still dealing with this? This is fundamental stuff. Fundamental stuff. And it cost him the game, but we'll get to that.
Absolutely. So we are going to go back here. Clev should be joining us shortly. No Scott tonight. He is up north, which in Michigan means he's north of the city of Flint. He is up north somewhere. He was trying to get Wi-Fi installed at his secret location. It did not work. So no Scott tonight. Clev should be joining us here shortly, though. But we're going to go back to last Thursday night. 49ers 26, Rams 23, a final in overtime, a game of just back-to-back baffling field goal decisions from head coaches bailing each other out. But to me, this game was defined by the quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, 33 of 47 for 389 and 3 touchdowns. Puka, of course, 10 for 85 and a touchdown. And then Mac Jones threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I'm pretty sure he's playing with 7 broken bones.
Yes. He's hurt for sure. But so the entirety of the season for North Carolina football is an indictment on Bill Belichick's legacy. But if Mac Jones playing this well with that many broken bones isn't also that, I don't know what is, because it's so very clear to me that coaching matters. I mean, Mac Jones may come down to the mean because I think we know he has limitations. But clearly something within that system with the players that he has and the support that he has is working for him.
Yeah, I think places like the 49ers and the Vikings have systems, and it's funny because O'Connell comes from the Shanahan tree. I'm pretty sure. Maybe the McVay tree. Either way, they have very systems that allow their quarterbacks to succeed within the systems. Whereas I think Belichick designed a system around how amazing Tom Brady was, and then somebody else tried to step into it, and it was like, oh, if they're not Tom Brady, they can't do it. And you can't run your offense like you got Magic Johnson at point guard, right? Like, if you don't. So I think that's a bigger thing for Belichick, his inability to either create a system that can adapt to lesser good quarterbacks or to change the system when he had to have the not as good quarterbacks.
And also hiring Joe Judge, Matt Patricia to do jobs that they've not really done at a professional level to that point. So you have a young quarterback coming into a brand new system who now has two people who are kind of learning it at the same time. That's to me a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's this game was really interesting to me because I predicted before the season the 49ers would be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
You did.
Because of their easy schedule, but nobody except for Christian McCaffrey is hurt now.
Yes. And when's that going to happen?
Yeah, but their schedule is so easy. I still think they're going to win 12 games this year. And if that were to happen, would this be the weakest number 1 seed in the history of the NFL?
Ooh, I mean, remember, well, okay, so I think Brad and I talked about, or maybe my brother and I talked about the most boring number 1 seed, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers of 2020 came up to that in that category, but also that team was fraudulent like crazy, if you remember.
Titans of 21.
Yep, Titans are definitely in there. I mean, you know how I feel about the AFC South. That's just a general concept of living. But I think it would be. But the fascinating thing when I think about the 49ers is all right, this is going to sound like it's anti-Brock Purdy, but it's not. But like, I don't think in that system particularly, if you have two guys who can do what the system requires of you and do it at a high level, there's not a huge drop-off to me from Brock Purdy to Mac Jones the way Mac Jones is playing right now. So if you have guys that are healthy, it should actually work. And it's not as fraudulent as it looks on the surface. But if they're going to continue winning games with nobody, that means their schedule is soft and they 100% look like a team that's going to lose in the divisional round at home.
I'm not sure we can repeat the Matt Patricia stories on YouTube, even with the explicit tag.
Oh, I'm sure. And it's got to kill you that he's the defensive coordinator of Ohio State.
It doesn't, because I love when Matt Patricia loses, so it'll be very nice to hand him another L.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm talking my shit from Michigan until Ohio State actually beats us, but I think Ohio State is likely to win this year. But I'm going to keep talking until they actually do it. As
you should, but that defense looks the part. Let's just put it that way. That's the nice way to say it.
For Ohio State?
Yeah.
Yes, but I think any defense with Caleb Downs is really playing with 13 players on the field at a time.
Sure.
And Caleb Downs reminds me of Charles Woodson with his impact on defense, where it's just like, how is this dude everywhere? Like every coverage, every pass, he's breaking up, and every run play, he's making the tackle.
Okay, that's fair.
And so Matt Patricia could be a slightly below average defensive coordinator with a phenomenal defense because Caleb Downs is just that good. And I think he should be the first non-quarterback off the board of the draft.
I guess we'll see. I mean, they've looked good, so, they'll either show up in the big moments or they won't.
Yeah. What really kills me about Ohio State is that their quarterback's last name is Sand, and as a big Dragon Ball Z fan, I hate that they get the memes. That's the main thing that's got me mad there.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. London, Vikings 21, Browns 17. This was very annoying for me because I was over the Browns money line in this one. I thought for sure the Browns are going to win outright, and they had it. They had it, and they blew it at the end. Carson Wentz, 236 yards and a touchdown, and really avoided any mistakes.
Yes.
Which against the Cleveland defense is not easy. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches for 123 yards. Dylan Gabriel, his first NFL start, 19 of 33, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. I was as impressed with Dylan Gabriel as I think I could have expected to have been, because I see Dylan Gabriel as a non-athletic Kyler Murray.
Yes.
It, to me, makes him, I think Dylan Gabriel is going to be an elite backup quarterback for the next decade.
And that's going to pay him a lot of money if he's on the right team.
Yes.
Chase Daniel could attest to that.
Yes, but I don't think that elite backups in their first starts usually look this good.
No, he looked way better than I thought he was going to.
Yeah, it gets Brian Flores. Like, this
Correct.
is not an easy defense to.
Yes, they didn't. I mean, they're obviously overseas, so it's a little bit different because they were the one that traveled there, right? I think the Vikings were in Dublin.
The Vikings stayed. Yep.
Right. So there's a lot of factors, obviously, that go into that. The Browns just aren't very good, too. There's that part of that is there. But, yeah, I mean, 1 pick, but the types of mistakes that you make and what you do in the other parts of the game really do matter. And we'll talk about that later, like with the Bills. Like if that one pick is not at a crucial time or it's not really killing you, like if it's early in the game, fine, right? If you're playing the best in those best moments, which they did. I mean, they got down the field and scored when they had to, and they had a chance. They were in it with a guy who I didn't think was going to look as good. So I too was impressed because my expectations were low.
Yes. Another thing from this game on the Brown side, we talked about this a bit last week, but it just continues to be the case. Quinshon Judkins is the real deal.
Yes.
As a running back. We're looking at top 5, top 6 running back in the league start of next season.
Yeah.
And if he gets better in the passing game or the Browns get a little bit better, can he threaten the Bijan Gibbs tier? I don't think so, but I think going into next season, he's going to dust Kyron, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, maybe not Jonathan Taylor, but like it'd be like, oh, do you want Quinshon or Achane?
It's funny you mention that because watching this week overall, I got this sense, number one, that the best teams in the league are all flawed except kind of sort of the Lions, right? Like you feel good about the Lions, whereas other teams seem to sort of show what their weaknesses could be at the worst times. But then running backs, last year we had this Derrick Henry and Saquon are resetting the mold because they're ageless. And I'm thinking, this may be it. Like you may get that 1 year out of them and they don't look the same. I mean, and that's not all of them, but running backs, it seems like there is this line of running backs that we've all watched for a while and we're like, okay, all these guys are good. And it's like they turn to dust just like that. Yep. And that's what I watched the last couple of Sundays. But to your point, it seems like next year we're going to have this new crop and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch because a lot of those guys are just really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from the Minnesota side, I made this note before we had an answer, but the Vikings have a bye this week. And then coming out of the bye, do they go back to J.J. McCarthy or do they stick with Carson Wentz? We know the answer now is they're going back to J.J. McCarthy because Wentz is getting his non-throwing shoulder looked at.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going back to J.J. But do you think that's the right move organizationally and or for play on the field?
This is a tough call because last year to me is sort of an aberration for them. Like Sam Darnold, the way that season went after McCarthy went down and they lost him for the whole season, it was kind of a surprise. So this year is really year 1 or year 0 almost with this whole thing. McCarthy has struggled at times, and that's not crazy. I mean, you'd expect that from a guy who is getting his first NFL reps at a real high level. And since he's been out, they have a veteran guy who maybe isn't the best, but it seems like under Kevin O'Connell, he's doing that thing that we just talked about with other guys where it's like he's not turning the ball over recklessly. Do you remember some of those games when you played for Indianapolis and it's like, buddy, what are you doing? Like you're throwing that you should never do that. He's not doing that here. It does help that he has probably the best receiver in the league to throw to 7 times or however many times. And that does help, but I don't know, because on the one hand, you want J.J. McCarthy to get reps and you want him to get better. But on the other hand, he's been hurt. He's been struggling a little bit. Is it a knock to his confidence to keep him out for a guy as veteran as Carson Wentz? You know, like that's the debate that I have. I don't know how you feel about it.
So Paul's got a good comment here. He says, I'm on record as being a JJ skeptic because Paul likes Notre Dame. But they absolutely have to go back to him as soon as possible to figure out what he is. So, yeah, on a macro level, I agree with that. But do they have to go back to him as soon as possible? Because eventually Carson Wentz will play bad enough to get himself benched if they wanted to do that.
Of course. I mean, the idea behind a backup for me is usually if they're going to be in for an extended period of time, they at least keep you at 500 for whatever that period is, which I don't think is that crazy. I mean, most backups in the league, let's take Gardner Minshew. It's like, man, he could throw for 5 touchdowns, no picks. He could throw for 0 touchdowns, 5 picks the next game. Like that's the up and down that you get, right? And so if you have to put in your backup, you'd hope that they can at least keep the ship stable. And he's done better than that, to be fair, right? Like I think that he's played, oh, wow, okay, this is not the Carson Wentz that I've been used to the last couple of years. But you're right, he's going to come back down to the mean. He's Carson Wentz, and NFL teams figure this shit out. And so I agree that he does need to go back in because you need him to continue to just get game speed, get reps, figure out defenses that he's looking at, make sure he understands his progressions. And all this stuff sounds like, well, of course, but in the middle of a game when everybody's faster, the game is faster, the play calling, everything is on a different level. If you're stunted in that growth, you're never going to actually get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the other thing to remember is that JJ McCarthy is extremely young. Extremely young. He was born on my 21st birthday.
And this is not a shot at all at him, but the way that Michigan played, especially in that final year, he wasn't asked to really put the team on his back the way that he might have to in the NFL. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so there's an adjustment there in that
certainly not by volume and not in the way the Vikings would need him to.
Yes, that's what I mean.
So I've said this a couple times on the show before, but in that draft class, Drake May, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, all them, that last year before they all went to the NFL.
Right.
If you took away the fourth quarter attempts from all of them, JJ was right in line with the rest of them for attempts, right? Because Michigan's winning, they're not passing. If you took away screen passes from all of them, JJ's right in line with attempts because Michigan could actually run the ball. They didn't need the screens extension of the running game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of all of them, he was the most efficient on third and obvious passing situations.
Yes.
So I don't think his raw counting stats from college are an issue. I do think, though, we don't know if he can actually go and throw the ball 42 times a game.
That's what I mean.
Like you might have to. Yeah.
The expectation in the NFL, especially when you're down, which happens all the time, is, I'm going to have to go out there and go at a volume again that's higher than I'm used to, but also, again, the defenses are faster, the schemes are a little bit different. So quarterback is such a hard position to play because you have to know everything and you have to learn it basically on the fly. You can practice it, you can do walkthroughs, but until Myles Garrett is trying to kill you, you have no idea how that's going to go until it goes. And you sometimes figure that shit out as you go.
Yeah. So a couple things here. Paul says, I'm a skeptic because his coach is actively hiding him his final year in college. No, we're just able to run the ball and we're winning every single game. At any game where we weren't winning, JJ is the one that won the game for us. Like the Rose Bowl against Alabama. He also can't throw left, which is legit funny. Now that's a problem. For whatever reason, he is horrible going to his left in the NFL. He wasn't that bad in college, but for some reason that is very true. He's got a real problem with that. That's got to get sorted out. I'm not saying JJ's a lock to be really good or anything, but he's not going to be horrible. He's going to be okay. Colts 40, Raiders 6.
Pete Carroll needs to just retire. Like, what are we doing? And I say that because why, at his age, would you want to be doing this? Watch your team score 6 points. Watch Geno Smith basically be like, man, I'm playing with a lot of bums out here. Like, you know what I mean? It's not all a Geno problem. It's obviously a team problem, but it went from, okay, they maybe aren't going to be a pushover to Jesus. They might suck real hard.
Yeah. So a couple things for the Raiders. Kane Coulter, their star tackle, is injured and has been injured the last couple weeks and will be injured for a lot longer. And there's many ways to build an offensive line. The best way is to have like 5 really good offensive linemen, which almost never happens.
Like the Eagles had for a while.
Right. The next best is to have like 3 or 4 solid offensive linemen and 2 superstars, like the Lions have with the Ragnow and Sewell and the rest of them, right?
Mm-hmm. Cowboys were kind of in that place too.
The worst is to have 4 average linemen and 1 superstar. Because if the superstar goes down and gets replaced by a backup, then your 4 average linemen cannot do it themselves. And that's what we're seeing with the Raiders. Their offensive line without him is like a Ravens defense level bad.
I guess for me, we always used to talk about that the good franchises are planning 3, 4, 5 years in advance. They're trying to stay ahead of the curve. So if that's true, you hire a new head coach and it's Pete Carroll. He's 73 years old. What is the long-term thinking about this? Because if they're going to suck this bad because this is what they have, how many more years do you like have with Pete Carroll to get to where you want to be organizationally. That's really why I joke that he should retire, because I'm thinking I don't understand the logic.
Nothing about the Raiders' behavior this year it indicates that they are planning for the long term. They think their window is open.
That's
they
insane.
Well, I agree, but they hire a 73-year-old coach. They go and sign an aging quarterback. They draft a running back in the first round.
Which I know
these are all things that you do for immediate success. I agree with you. It's insane, but it's very clear that organization, for whatever reason, like they drafted Brock Bowers and they think, okay, now's the time to win. And I don't get it. I think it's clearly wrong, but that's the only explanation for what they're doing.
Yeah, you're right. And we say it always starts at the top, and the top has that haircut. So obviously everything down below underneath that is kind of the same shit show. But you're not wrong. They are drafting luxury items, which is usually what good teams try and do to build up on those skill positions. And while Ashton Genty might be fine and Brock Bowers clearly is good, if that's all that they have, that becomes I don't know. It's insane to me that they would think that with what they have on the field.
And the other thing is that the Rams were desperately trying to trade up for Brock Bowers.
Yep.
And the Bears were trying to trade up for Ashton Genty. The Raiders could have traded down both those spots. They could have traded down in both of those spots. And at number 10, they could have taken Colston Loveland this year, and they got Jared Verse last year. Like if they had taken who the Rams and the Bears took, right?
Right.
So they've really the Raiders in general, just top to bottom, through and through, are a poor franchise, which is why they're going to be the worst in the AFC that isn't the Jets. Hey, Clev is here.
Nice segue.
Fellas. Jeez. I think you were saving that.
Yeah, we're talking about the Colts and the Raiders here. We're just about to move into the Colts. The Colts are 4-1. They would be 5-0 if not for A.D. Mitchell throwing the game away out of the back of the end zone last week. Jonathan Taylor, 66 yards, 3 touchdowns, and another 3 catches this game. Danny Dimes, aka Indiana Jones, is crushing it right now.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, in this system.
He's cooking.
Clev, 20 of 29 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers.
The guys, I think Matt alluded to this probably a couple of years ago, and he kind of harps on it. Is like some guys work good in the system. Whatever didn't work in New York for him is definitely working in Indianapolis. So it's definitely something's cooking over there, because if I fell out of the spaceship 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought this guy's in the MVP running right now.
Well, he is in the MVP running right now.
Yeah, absolutely
is.
But the thing is with the Colts is every week that I wake up and I think, oh, the Colts have won because Daniel Jones has played like I expect him to, and other things have sort of made up for that. You know what I mean? Like their schedule, they have played mostly bad teams for the most part, but he's been legitimately excellent. Like there's just no way to talk around that. And this week when I watched him, I thought, I don't know if he's just all of a sudden going to plummet. Like he seems to be playing in a place that he likes to be, which is kind of sort of an indictment on Brian Daboll and the Giants just as an organization, which I think, Dave, in the offseason, we said they were unserious. Did we say that?
Yes, we did. And the Giants have a real problem because you have Saquon leaving, going to the Eagles, sets like the rushing record and wins the Super Bowl.
Which, look, that aged poor. That would have aged well had he not done that. I mean, how many people thought that was going to happen? To be fair to them.
Evan Engram leads the Giants, goes to the Jags, gets 100 catches in a season. Darren Waller.
Yep. Oh man.
Retires from the Giants, gets left by Kelsey Plum, drops a horrible album on SoundCloud, starts a Twitch stream, comes back 18 months later, is the tight end 5 in fantasy this year for the Dolphins.
The Dolphins.
Meanwhile, who's the last great free agent signing to go to the Giants and blow up in New York?
Oh, wait, like blow up as in be good, or blow up like Kenny Galladay?
Blow up is in the good way. Yeah, not the Kenny Galladay way.
Okay. I have no idea. I can't even think. I can't even think of who they've signed that's like not just a lineman or some other position where you're not like, whoa, I can't believe they got that guy.
Right. So, and this is transition here. Saints 26, Giants 14.
All right. So I don't know what you guys talked about last week about Jackson Dart, but I didn't think he looked that great.
He looks serviceable. And he looks like I expect him to look with no Malik Neighbors.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Serviceable, though, that's not an adjective you want to hear if you drafted that guy at the first round, right?
At the quarterback position, there are major tiers than the first round. Taking a guy at 25 is way different than taking a guy at number 5 at the quarterback position. So serviceable in your first year is okay because you're the 25th pick in your quarterback. Like Kenny Pickett was 20th, right? Like if you're picked in the 20s, Will Levis was 33. You can do way worse than serviceable in this range. Jordan Love was not serviceable his first year. So
no, that's true.
Right. If Jackson Dart is serviceable as a rookie, as a 25th overall pick, he will have the chance to be this team's quarterback again next year.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I don't mean it as an insult, and especially without Malik Neighbors. Like, what is he supposed to do?
No, I agree. I felt like after the first week, everybody was like, oh, this is it. And I'm like, I mean, one game, yes, they won, and that's not
barely
inconsequential. Right now, I know, but part of that's a Chargers thing. But they barely won, yes. But my point is like a lot. Like it's probably just like media in general. How it's like, oh, that's it. Jackson Dart has arrived, and I'm like, okay, like come on, like can we give it like a couple of games before we go there? Why does everybody have to arrive after their first win, and then they look like dog shit against the Saints, who were winless? So like, okay, we're back to where we were before.
Yeah, Jackson Dart has looked okay in both of these games. Right. The issue for the Giants is that they are talentless on offense now. Without Malik Neighbors, they have just a bunch of guys. Some of these guys have attributes that I really like. I think Wan'Dale Robinson is great after the catch. I think Cam Scadaboo can activate his CTE whenever he wants.
I was going to say, he's got to have it by now.
It is amazing to watch.
Because it's not us.
But he's still basically John Riggins playing in 2025. Like, that's not.
That brand of football is really not like, I don't know how long that can keep up, you know?
I mean, he's playing like the scene in Rudy where Vince Vaughn gets told, like, that's why you've been third string your whole career. Like, he's basically like playing like that where everything is life or death. And it is fun to watch, but boy, that's not going to end well.
He plays running back like Vontez Burfict would play running back.
Holy shit. Isn't Vontez Burfict a coach somewhere? Is it UNLV?
What?
I hope not.
Hold on. Continue. I heard this recently. Continue.
Yeah, like what is he possibly teaching these kids?
Hold on.
Bounty Gate?
I know, like
I think this is an actual thing. I might have gotten the school wrong, but yeah, he is currently a defensive analyst at UNLV.
Okay. Analyst I'll allow.
Sure.
Linebackers coach, I don't want to be like
it's coming.
Like listen, kids, get out there, give them a concussion, or you're running steps.
He's like, sweep the leg, Mr. Lawrence. We have a problem here.
I mean, unless he's showing them videos of all the dumb stuff that he did and says, just don't do that. Do everything else that I did, but don't do that.
I remember I watched when I first got into soccer in 2008, and I was trying to learn about the game more, learn the positions. I watched a video of some like old famous Dutch goalkeeper. I don't remember. He's a real famous one, but he was like famous in the 70s. This is the mid 2000s, right? So he was older. And he said a good goaltender will never allow a shot to score on him from inside the box that doesn't end with the shooter getting hurt.
Wow. And
I was like, that seems insane. It turns out this guy actually was insane. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want that guy coaching goalkeepers now. I don't want Vontez Burfict coaching linebackers. I don't want Cam Scadaboo coaching running backs.
I mean, if you're going to be anywhere, UNLV seems like a perfect spot for a guy that could teach concussion protocol.
Yes, and everybody knows people in Las Vegas are known for their great decision making.
I mean, yeah, fair.
Want to shout out the Saints here for getting one of their 3 wins on the season. Spencer Rattler, 21 of 31, 225, and a TD, including a long bomb to Rashid Shaheed for an 87-yard touchdown.
That was beautiful.
Good for him.
It was really nice. So, just congrats to the Saints because they are actively trying to lose.
Yeah,
and I don't think the Jets are going to keep this up. So I think the Saints will end up with the number 1 overall pick, which is their goal. So they can win this game and still achieve that. So shout out to them. Good win. Speaking of which, Cowboys 37, Jets 22. Cleve, what the hell?
Man,
silence is perfect there, actually.
you know what? I'm actually embarrassed. There's a lot to be embarrassed about, but I just don't know what it needs to win a football game. I don't know what we need to do to win a football game. Sauce Gardner is not Darrelle Revis. Any Jets Nation, any Jets Nation out there who keeps pumping this narrative, it ain't even close. He's getting cooked.
Hey, Cleve, I don't know if you know this, but I'm not The Rock. Because that's basically the same thing. Like, no. In fact, there's a meme going around now in fantasy circles that you don't need to fear Sauce Gardner anymore, so you start calling him Ahmed. Like,
Damn.
Sauce moniker is just Ahmed Gardner now because
wow.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, the Jets.
Oof.
Boy, oh boy. I mean, I've heard the Cowboys defense nicknamed the Make-A-Wish Foundation because they make dreams come true. And the Jets couldn't do anything against that. I don't even know what to say about that because, I mean, look, we've seen the Jets be winless before, and it's not really taking shots at the Jets. If I remember correctly, our AFC East preview, we kind of said the Jets, Dave, I think you said they could finish second or they could finish last, and I wouldn't be surprised if they swung either way. I feel like they took that to heart and said, let's fucking finish last because that's how they're playing right now. But it's like 0-5 we've seen, but then on top of it, poor Aaron Glenn has to now he has to now have this thing. Whoa, by the way, the defense hasn't created a turnover. 5 games, they haven't even gotten a tip pass that somebody's intercepted, a random fumble that, you know what I mean?
The defense hasn't. They did block that field goal running back for a touchdown that should have beat Tampa.
That's true. And then Baker Mayfield put his balls in the wheelbarrow like he wants to do.
As he does.
Yes.
As is his want.
Every fucking week with that guy too, by the way.
The issue for me with the Jets is this, Cleve, and I want your thought on this as a Jets fan. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much danger is Aaron Glenn in of being a one and done?
If it's week 10 without wins, it's going to be over. I mean, I'm giving it 8 as the over under, but 10 games. I think if you go 10, because technically, if we lose another 3, possibly 4 games, we're out. Like we're out. Like we're 0-5 is uncharted territory.
You're already
out now.
Yeah. You're out.
It's just denial is the first stage.
It's not just a river in Egypt, right?
Hello, my name is Cleve. I'm a Jets fan.
Yeah, I think if he goes 0-10, if they go 0-10, it's gonna be a one and done Gerard Mayo type thing, where like Woody Johnson's gonna be like, hey, just don't. He might get the Herm Edwards at the goalpost, like, hey, thank you for your services. It's been great.
I have a fundamental question for both of you guys, but Dave, you can take this. We know that NFL head coaching jobs are tough to get, so you're not going to be offered them all the time. But I think we have learned that in the draft, specifically, like high-profile players that go to franchises that we know don't generally do well overall, right? I mean, I think Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson are a great example with the Jets. If you're Aaron Glenn, is it a risk to not take the head coaching job with the Jets and hope that another one comes up? Because if he does get fired after 10 weeks, which feels kind of like crazy to me, but doesn't that kind of, number one, go again against the black head coaches get such a short leash, and also number two is like his next job, will he get another job? And that's why I'm asking, is it more suicide to take a job that is almost a failure proposition than to sit it out?
I don't think that black head coach candidates can risk passing on head coaching opportunities when they come along.
And that's kind of where I'm thinking too,
Yeah,
which sucks because you have to take a shitty one and then you're in a position where it feels like.
Well, also that could be the only reason that he's offered this job is that he was a Jet. Like maybe no other team would have offered him a job because of the black head coach thing, except for the team that drafted him and he played for so long.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, because if you turn it down, there's just not many jobs to have. But it just makes me think about that they're in such a shitty position because they can't afford to turn it down. And then, like you said, if this is the only job that he has, and he may be one and done, and that sucks.
The only reason I would say, sorry, Cleve, 1 second. The only reason I would say he should have turned this job down is in anticipation of the Browns coming open.
Sure.
Next year, when you get Myles Garrett in your Aaron Glenn, like then maybe you got something cooking there. But we can't, like, we just can't afford to turn those opportunities down. They're not going to come along as frequently.
Yeah.
So he had to take this job. Cleve, go ahead.
So my take is, I mean, you obviously want to put up some kind of tape, some kind of resume, some type of something. The team on paper, at least in the last 2 seasons, looked viable. You needed a mobile quarterback. We went out and got one, a la Justin Fields. I wasn't a real big fan of picking up Justin Fields, but obviously he was supposed to give you a little bit of mobility. But he's at the juncture in his career now where he's not going to run as much. I don't see him taking off doing that. So he's trying to become a passer or evolve into something like that. I do agree with you, Dave, about not passing these opportunities. But again, it's only because I think that you got to put some type of resume together. You got to put some type of tape together. He did have enough of a pedigree with you guys to garner a head coaching job. But
Absolutely.
I think it weighed heavily. I think it weighed heavily that he was a former player. And again, if you saw, meaning Aaron Glenn, if you saw that Rex Ryan, who went to the AFC Championship game, couldn't get back into the building, your chances were probably slim. But again, this roster looked on paper like it could do something. You got a monster running back. You got receivers that are good. I just don't know what it takes to win, what to motivate these guys. So that's
Cleve,
my take.
How old is Justin Fields?
Is he 26, 27?
It's 26.
26,
He'll keep running for a while.
Yeah.
He's been around forever because he came in the league super young. Like he was like 21. Yeah. So it feels like he should be older, but he's still only 26. Yeah, I think he's the same age as Trevor Lawrence.
I think he's seen enough football to know, or should know. Like, again, given the amount of coordinators, the whole thing that happened in Chicago, then he goes to Mike Tomlin and all that kind of stuff. So I get it, but he's been around enough football to kind of know how the league works. And again, if after this shot here, he's not going to be a starter anywhere else. So once we're done with him, he's a career backup.
Yes, but he's a career backup in Baltimore, which is going to work out great for them. Could you imagine the Ravens right now if instead of Cooper Rush, Justin Fields was coming into the game?
That's a good point, because I, first of all, was floored that Cooper Rush was their backup. I mean, obviously I should have known it, but it's more of a, man, could there be a more precipitous drop-off between the guy and then the next guy? And they're two completely different players. Like, the offensive scheme is made for one of those guys, not the other. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, so Justin Fields' next stop after New York will be back up on the Ravens, where he will play 2 games a season and score 35 fantasy points each time he takes the field.
Maybe Shedeur will be his backup one day. Can learn a few things.
No, because I don't think Justin Fields is ever going to be the XFL. Broncos 21, Eagles. Oh, the Cowboys won. Dak is great, dotting people up.
Dak looks so good, and that defense just sucks.
Yeah, their defense is horrible. The Cowboys are going to finish around 500, and they're going to score 500 points and give up 505 points.
They're the Jameis Winston of this year.
Actually, they'll finish exactly 500 because they have a tie. So
that's true.
Wow.
Everything's 500.
Broncos 21, Eagles 17. The Broncos come back from down 14 in the fourth quarter, and this is why A.J. Brown publicly and Devontae Smith privately are so upset. They get these leads, they play not to lose, they fart around, and eventually they're going to get got. You cannot do this. Like, I don't understand why the Eagles don't learn from the Lions and just continue to stomp on teams until the clock runs out.
It was such a weird game. I mean, the week prior, they didn't complete a pass in the second half, and then they threw like 24 times in the second half in this game. And it's like, the Eagles are very strange. And I wonder, how many losses is it going to take for that to just completely blow up? You know what I mean?
That's a great question because I don't know that it's about wins and losses. Because
right,
I don't think if you're a player with the Eagles, you could be frustrated with the Eagles.
Yeah, you could.
Well, you're coming off a Super Bowl victory. You're still winning more games than you lose. But to see such obvious poor strategy being deployed and feel like you could be doing better, they could employ this strategy over the next 4 weeks, win 3 of the games, and A.J. Brown might still be like, God damn it, trade me because we're 6-2. I don't care. So
it seems like the record, like 6-2, doesn't matter as much. And the only reason I asked about losses is because in losses, especially in Philadelphia, all those things that you talked about get magnified way more than they do during the wins. Mm-hmm. And so that, I don't know. Remember 2 years ago with this team, it was a really strange vibe with everything in the locker room and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and all that stuff. And they somehow pushed that to the side, won a Super Bowl. And it's a good thing because it seems like there's something that makes me uneasy about watching the Philadelphia Eagles.
Is it Big Dom?
No, it's just more of I don't trust this team the way that I did last year. Like last year, they felt mostly unequivocally good, and it showed. This year, I'm like, I don't know. I think you understand what I'm saying. It's like, yes. I know that they're good. They have talented guys. I just don't get a good vibe when I watch them, even when they win.
I feel much more confident in Tampa Bay week to week than I do in the Eagles.
Well, because as we said, we know whether they win or lose that there's one guy in that team who's going to do everything he can to win the football game.
Egbuka.
Yeah, yes. But I have to give, but yes, I agree with you that like if this year so far the Bucs are down, I'm like, they're in it.
Yeah. Yep. Now the Broncos won in Philadelphia, go across the country, play an early game, win. The week before, the Chargers go across the country, play the Giants, early game, and lose. I am, of all my preseason predictions, Broncos to win the AFC West
looks really good now.
Is the one I'm most confident in still as we go along here. I mean, I think the Broncos are just a really complete team, and I think they're resilient. I don't think there's like one person besides Bo Nix where if they get hurt, this team falls apart, including Patrick Surtain.
True. Are they complete but not elite?
Yeah, but I think in a war of attrition like the NFL, that might be, quantity is its own quality, as Cleve's hero Napoleon once said.
Well, and also the AFC is very strange now. So there is opportunity for sure for the Broncos to assert themselves.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the weirdness of the AFC when we get to Kansas City, because there is some real weirdness going on there. Panthers 27, Dolphins 24.
I love this.
Cleve, the Panthers started running back, ran for 200 yards in this game. If you can name him, I will give you $10 American.
It's awesome. I no clue.
Rico Dowdle.
Yep.
That's a real person.
Cowboys, former Cowboy.
Yeah, I knew that, but I knew he was a former Cowboy. The name didn't strike me, but wow.
23 carries, 206 yards, and a touchdown. Because he was cheap on DraftKings, because Chuba Hubbard's ruled out after salaries were created, I knew he was going to be massively owned in tournaments. So I played 16 lineups, and I X'd out Rico Dowdle. I was like, he's going to be over-owned. He's Rico Dowdle. It's the Panthers. I'm not playing this guy. So anyways, Cleve, if you can help me pay rent this month, I'd really appreciate it.
He's going to do that the rest of the year, though. Your thinking is totally on point for the rest of the year. It's just this week is what happened because they played the Dolphins.
Yeah, that was a poor financial decision to not play him. But yeah, the Panthers come back in this game. The Dolphins blow lead this game. Bryce Young, 19 of 30, 198, 2 touchdowns and a pick, led the go-ahead drive late. But I thought he looked horrific, except for like the 4 really good plays.
Yeah.
I think the end of last year might have been the aberration. I think I'm back to Bryce Young is in a lot of trouble, and the Panthers might be in the quarterback market this offseason.
Was Bryce Young one of your preseason predictions for an award?
No.
Okay. I remember hearing you talk about Bryce Young, and I was like, ooh, that's interesting, but good to know.
Maybe in relation to Tet McMillan, like if Bryce Young continues to improve, Tet is a much stronger bet for Offensive Rookie of the Year or something like that.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
But, yeah, good numbers, comeback victory, but you can see the difference between Bryce Young and his comeback versus Trevor Lawrence and his, Baker Mayfield and his, right? It just wasn't. I should know the words because I'm literally hosting a podcast, but I don't know the words I'm looking for to describe this difference, but they're not the same thing.
No. You have confidence in one and not in the other because one, we haven't really seen Bryce Young do it all that often, but the manner in which he made this comeback wasn't exactly it wasn't giving you a vote of confidence like, oh, they are going to come back. That's the way that he's playing. The fact that they did is kind of like, oh, that's kind of a surprise.
Yep. On the thumbnail for this episode, we have 2. I always have the three primary hosts here and then 2 additional characters. It was a very angry Lamar Jackson and Mike McDaniel holding a pink slip. Clev. The Dolphins are 1-4. They just lost to the Panthers. When does Mike McDaniel get fired? Not if, when.
I think they're gonna by the trade deadline. When is that? Is that
November 4th?
Yeah, Halloween-ish.
Yeah, I think by then, if this team stays on the schneid, they look
3 of us election day.
Yeah, they look horrific. Tua looks. I don't know what. Like I can't even jump back off the wagon. I just don't know what I'm looking at. Right?
You're never on it.
No. I Dave kind of throws a good ball.
He's an A+ at the things he's really good at, and a C- at everything else.
He really sucks at knowing who's played football before, because as we noted with the whole Cam Newton thing, like,
man,
hello,
man, that was brutal.
Listen, I
gave him the benefit of the doubt on it, but still, bad luck.
I'm not shocked that somebody that religious who went to school in Alabama has bad takes. That's what I'm saying.
Well, so Dave, I have a theory. I think Mike McDaniel will get fired, hopefully, possibly, when Virginia Tech ponies up the dough to get him on the sideline in Blacksburg. Let's make it happen. Make it happen.
That would be fun.
Fun. That's all I'm asking for fun.
That'd be a really good time.
It would be. It's not going to happen.
If the Hokies hire Mike McDaniel, we are all going down for the season opener in Blacksburg.
It'd be and to watch them lose like 20-10 or some bullshit like that.
Yeah, but imagine we can introduce Clev to Metallica. I don't think he's ever heard them.
I joke about that, but I have seen his name floated around with it, and I'm thinking that's an interesting move. And I mean, what's to say it wouldn't be successful in the ACC, which is decidedly ass.
I think any team in the ACC any year could pop up and win except Wake Forest.
I don't know. They just beat us this week, so clearly they can beat at least one team.
I didn't even mean that, Needle. I didn't even intend it.
Oh, no, I'm good. I have, yes. But also consider that Wake Forest and Virginia Tech had a scoreless tie going into overtime, which is the infamous Frank Beamer meme.
Yes.
That's
okay.
terrific.
Quick college football side note here, since we're talking about it. UCLA 42, Penn State 37. Nobody in the history of the world including Isaac Newton with gravity, Albert Einstein with relativity, has been more correct about anything in their life than I am about Penn State football.
I mean, oh man, because we talked, Brad and I have texted about this a lot because James Franklin has now become the Ryan Day of last year where we fired him like 3 times. And so I don't think James Franklin is going to win the national championship and screw us over this time. But man, Penn State has been this for a while. And this, like the loss to Oregon, fine. They lose to Oregon. They always lose to good teams. But to then lose to UCLA, who had looked like they had never played football for like 4 games, you give up 42 points. I mean, fraud doesn't even cover it.
It's not even close. Also, they're going to go 7-5. They're going to lose at Iowa. They're going to lose to Indiana. They're going to lose to Ohio State.
Losing to Iowa is just so embarrassing.
Not at Iowa.
No, I know, but
all losses in Kinnick are valid.
12-10.
Cleve, I've always said about Penn State football, especially under James Franklin, that they don't do anything with their players and they're mentally weak. So when they get to the NFL, there's never any development. So if you walk in and you're a great player like Saquon or Michael Parsons, you stay great. But with the exception of Chris Godwin, nobody comes in and blows up, right? You can come in and stay at your level, but you never get better. So after this game, Penn State goes out to UCLA, they lose. Coach James Franklin says, well, there are a number of factors that went into this. One of the key ones was the travel. You know, we went across the country. We just weren't prepared for the travel, this, that, and the other. And I think he's being serious. I don't think he's making excuses. I think he is reflecting the truth, right?
What about Oregon?
That's what I'm saying. But the week before, Oregon went to Pennsylvania and beat you. So I agree. I think he's telling the truth that his team did not respond well to the travel going out west. But, bro, you just lost to Oregon, who clearly did it coming back the other way.
Yes.
Like, introspection. See the problem. It's not that travel's the issue. Penn State is the issue.
It's brutal.
Well, I mean, this is tough because Penn State's kind of in that category of schools that find them, like, they had success a really long time ago, and they're sort of gifted the assumption that they're at that level that they used to be. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, Penn State, they have pedigree. And I'm like, it's been 40 years since they've even sniffed, I mean, a real legitimate, like, and now we hold them to that standard. And I saw a take that said that James Franklin is the guy before the guy. And I thought, I've never heard that, but that's also fairly fascinating. Where he'll get your pro. I mean, he got Vanderbilt respectable.
He's the Mark Richt to the Kirby Smart that's coming.
Yes, and I thought, I wonder who that next guy is.
Damn, the guy before the guy.
Because we always say you don't want to be the guy who follows the guy, but imagine being the guy before the guy. Like, hey, thank you for that, by the way.
T-shirt worthy.
So James Franklin was the coach up until 2 years ago, where I knew if I was an elite high school football player being recruited and I didn't just lock into Michigan for personal reasons, I'd go play for James Franklin.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
You hear him talk in the living room, in the interview, like, it's like, yeah, this is my guy. This is the guy I want to play for and everything. Now it's Marcus Freeman, which is hilarious because I hate Notre Dame, but Marcus Freeman is my man. So, like,
I love him.
Yeah, it would be Marcus Freeman. He played at Ohio State, coaches at Notre Dame, and that's my dude. That's how you know I really respect that guy. But now it's like the sheen has to be off. Like, elite players have to know going to Penn State is telling on yourself now. Like, you don't go there if you're serious about anything.
The degree. You want that degree?
Theoretically.
Yeah, but even then, if you're good enough to go to Penn State, you're good enough to go to maybe a not quite as elite program, but has the chance to bounce up and be even better than Penn State, like a Virginia Tech. And this is the point. And this is the point I want to make. Paul's in the chat. He can back me on this. There are between 6 and 11 real elite college football programs. And Penn State ain't one of them.
I would agree.
They are at the top of the next tier. Them, Tennessee, the U, sorry, Cleve, They're the top of the next tier.
That's
right?
true.
But they aren't us. They're in the tier where things break right. They can go deep into the postseason, win a bunch of games, put players in the NFL. But they aren't Ohio State. They are not Michigan. They're not Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, right? Jesus Christ, Paul, this is amazing. Especially because I'm pretty sure she's watching.
I don't know how I'd react if Marcus Freeman was in my living room.
I mean, that is he's in that category. He's in that Jalen Hurts category where it's like if you try to deny Marcus Freeman is handsome, you're just coming out of the closet. Like you cannot look somebody in the eye and be like, no, I don't see it. I don't see what people think that man. Yes, you do.
I got a funny story about this. So I think it was last season. Chrissy, luckily my wife loves football, so I get a pass to watch any and all football that I would love to. And I think Notre Dame might have been on because, as you all know, Brad is a Notre Dame fan. Mm-hmm. And she saw Marcus Freeman and she said, he looks like the guy who would play a coach in a movie. And I was like, do not shame Marcus Freeman like that. That is one of the most handsome men I've ever seen in my life. And she was like, really? And I'm like, I thought about divorce for maybe like 30 seconds. It was maybe a 30-second time frame there. But I was like, what are we doing here? Like, don't do that. Don't do that. He's obviously handsome, and I would play for him in a heartbeat because he'd just walk in, and I'd be like, yep, what do I got to sign? That's fine.
Wow. It's great. Good stuff.
Hey, I'm back. Great.
Oh, I like, did we lose Dave? By the way, not to produce the show while it's in the show, I've got 5 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. Texans 44, Ravens 10. I'm going to repeat that. Texans 44, Ravens 10.
Nothing to see here.
The only thing I want to say about this is that I wish the Ravens had kept some pace here because I think Nico Collins could have broken the single game receiving mark of 329 set by Calvin Johnson if like they had to, because they could not stop him. They had no stopping him at all. The other things that I here in our local area, lots of Ravens fans, a lot of folks mad at John Harbaugh. There's nothing anybody can do about this. They're
not this loss.
On defense, Lamar's out. 2 offensive linemen are out. There's nothing anybody can do about this. They're going to lose to the Rams this week, fall to 1-5, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. It doesn't matter if Prime Vince Lombardi was the coach. They're losing these games.
Yeah, my criticism of John Harbaugh is not at this, because this is, I mean, you lose Lamar Jackson. That's like your whole team offensively. So it would be unfair to criticize his coaching with Cooper Rush and all the injuries on defense. My criticism of him lately has been historically in tighter games, the team tends to look tight, which again, this is not that. This is just, what are they supposed to do? I mean, imagine the Texans getting a get-right game against the Ravens.
In Baltimore.
Do your best. Yes, as Clev and I have been saying lately, when somebody says, man, just go out there and do your best, you're like, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just they're like, we always wonder what would happen if a team in the preseason played all their starters and the other team didn't. That's what's happening with the Ravens right now. They're playing their preseason squad. And the real Texans played, and we see the difference.
Hey, Dave, you have it in front of you, I would assume. What is the stat line for Cooper Rush? Because it was like a ridiculous completion percentage and 3 picks. That's all he had.
I actually don't have it in front of me because I tried to type it and Microsoft Word said it was a slur and I couldn't use it.
Let me pull it up because it was ridiculous. It was like, it looked like 12 of 19 for 180 yards, but then it was like 3 picks. I'm like, I feel like I could do that. You know what I mean?
Nick Chubb had 11 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown in 2025 in an NFL game.
I forgot he even still played. I did, and that's not a shot to the man. I just like, Nick Chubb is a
still in the league.
Texan? Wow.
Yeah, they're going to fall to 1-5. Then they're on their bye. Then Lamar comes back, and it's like, okay, you're 1-5. Can you finish 10-7? Squeeze your way in and be healthy, and just be like, well, we're on the road every game, but we're Baltimore.
I don't know. Their schedule is somewhat favorable if they get Lamar back for a good chunk of the rest of the season, so it's possible.
Yeah, he'll be back after the bye.
1-5 is a tough hole to dig out of. Pause.
Yeah.
By the way, Cooper Rush, 14 of 20, 179 and 3 picks. His QBR was 29.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, that's Daniel Jones in New York numbers.
No shit. Ravens country, let's ride.
Okay, Matt, before you get out of here, let's do a quick macro overview of this AFC situation, because we just touched on a bit there with Baltimore. Kansas City is 2-3. They're about to be 2-4. They host the Lions on Sunday night. They're about to hold another L. Yes, I'm calling it right now. So they're going to be 2-4. I looked at their schedule. Before they're buying week 11, they're going to be 5-5. They play Baltimore. They play Buffalo the week before that, so they're going to finish. They're going to be 5-5 going into the bye. So we have 5-5 Kansas City, some sort of horrible Baltimore. The Bills are probably the number 1 seed. After that, Matt, what is your take on the AFC 2 seed surprise playoff teams? Anything like that?
So I think obviously the Bills are going to be good. A fringe team, and this is not a homer take, but a fringe team, if they don't just all of a sudden fall off, the Patriots could sneak into the playoffs if they continue to just could sneak in. Again, I said this the other day. I'm like, they won in Buffalo. They're probably going to lose 5 straight. Now that I'm like, all right, things seem to be working out there. But that's a team that's worth watching. At least they could be spoiler to some of these other teams trying to jockey for position. Then you got the AFC North, which is the Bengals with Joe Flacco. I have no trust in that. I think you have the Ravens with Cooper Rush. No trust in that. But as we pointed out, they could still get to 9-10 wins and possibly get in. The Steelers, do I trust Aaron Rodgers for the entirety of the year? I don't know. And the Chargers, their offensive line right now, they obviously haven't looked very good, but I think that they still could be able to do it. I'm not unconvinced that the Chiefs are out of it by any stretch at all.
No, I don't think they're out of it either. But here's and this is why I wanted you here for this part of it.
Right.
The Jags are 4-1. The Colts
Yep.
are 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
If one of them continues to run away with this division, like if one of them sweeps the other,
Yeah.
they'll be the 2 seed behind Buffalo.
Yeah.
But if they split and they just return to being the Jags and the Colts, I actually think the Patriots could have the second best record in the AFC, but be the 5 seed because they didn't win the division. I think the Patriots are going to win 10 or 11 games.
Okay, so I've been watching them on Red Zone, obviously. And week 1, I thought, okay, this looks like a team who hasn't played any of their starters in the preseason. It happens all the time. I don't generally take week 1 anymore as a data point because unless it's like really bad. But even last year, we saw the Saints score 40 plus in the first 2 games and look like dog shit. So, but look, I've said in text that the Bills did a lot to help the Patriots win that game. However, last year, they would not have been able to take advantage of those turnovers or the penalties. And I don't know if Mike Vrabel is a Super Bowl winning coach because he hasn't won one yet. What I know about Mike Vrabel is he has a brand of football and I hate using this word, culture that he wants to bring in there. And that is clearly taking hold with the team. Mm-hmm. The coordinators they have seem to be competent people who know what they want to do. There's no infighting with the coaches. There's no infighting with the team yet. And Drake May, despite what that 3-second clip on TikTok said, actually looks pretty good. He looks like he's getting better. They're utilizing his skill set. And I left that game thinking, okay, this is on an upward trajectory. This is where I hoped that I would see it. But I do see the upside that you do, Dave, but also it just, some of the injuries that they could have, Drake May staying healthy, he's in year 2.
That's true for everybody.
It is. And so I don't find myself being like, oh, this team is good. I'm like, this team can be good because of the way they played in Buffalo. And again, like I said, Buffalo helped them, but they took advantage and they still won the game in a place that's kind of tough to play now. I mean, Josh Allen usually comes back.
So the thing about the Patriots, too, is their schedule. Much like the 49ers, they get that four-play schedule. And then the Jets and the Dolphins are dumpster fires.
That's the other thing, too. It's like coming into the season, I didn't know. You thought, okay, if they split with those teams, I wouldn't be surprised. But the way the Dolphins look, and especially the way that the Jets look, if they don't come out of that 3-1, then they are missing an opportunity.
Right. And so I think the Patriots are a lock for the playoffs no matter what. I don't think they're going to win the division because Buffalo's schedule is also relatively easy.
Yeah.
So I think Buffalo still paces them in the division. But I think the Patriots are the number 1 wild card team, which then puts them probably at the winner of the AFC West.
Yeah. So you could have, in Denver? potentially.
Denver, something like that. Maybe the AFC North, if Baltimore like squeezes back and wins it at 10-7.
Yeah.
Right. So I just think we're gonna get some real weirdness this year with like teams with better records on the road in the first round of the playoffs of the AFC. And like the Ravens have 7 losses, but do they really? Do we count those with Cooper Rush? What if Cooper Rush never had to play? Like, and I think the AFC, and then the Chiefs will be like the 7 seed going to Jacksonville again to try to avenge their losses. Like, there's just going to be so much weirdness in the AFC this year. And both of your fans of AFC teams, but you're the only fan here of a team that's going to make the playoffs. So that's why I want to get your opinion on it.
Well, so far, I have been impressed with how the team has progressed under Mike Vrabel. I wasn't convinced that, this is the guy that we need to have. I mean, obviously, I know he took the Titans, who already I said I hate the AFC. I mean, the AFC South as a concept. But, I mean, they did beat the Ravens in the playoffs. They did make it to an AFC championship game. So Mike Vrabel does know how to coach. But I wasn't convinced that it was going to happen quickly. But I do like what I'm seeing. And if they make the playoffs, then the Gerard Mayo thing was weird. Wasn't really a fan of how all that went down in the end. But if they make it to the playoffs and they're on an upward trajectory, that's the goal. I mean, Robert Kraft's not getting any younger, so he needs to have a winner like pretty damn quickly.
And keep Mike Vrabel away from Ohio State.
Yes, that too. That too. The other thing I want to say too is that when I look at the AFC, I realize compared to the NFC, they have the quarterbacks. Like I think the top tier quarterbacks are like so elite in the AFC. But when you look at the NFC, the teams seem to be the better, like the teams seem better. There's not as much weirdness in the NFC, which is a very kind of old school feeling for me because that used to be the way that it was way back in the day. And so it's kind of fun to have some parity in the AFC, not really knowing like, these teams are going to be good. We know Mahomes is going to be good, but man, they sure know how to lose some games this season. So that could be like an up and down thing. And they have to hope for one good game from Kelsey a month. Is that fair for him? 25% of the time? You know?
I don't know. We can't even get good albums from his fiance anymore, so I don't think we get good games from him.
Wow, that is a perfect segue for me to leave because I'm not besmirching Taylor Swift's name at all on this broadcast. I'm not doing it. I haven't listened to the album. I haven't listened to a Taylor Swift album in a while. There's my boomer take. I haven't listened to a Taylor Swift album.
She samples I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 for a song about Travis Kelce's dick.
That I knew.
Wow.
Piece of information that I didn't need to have on my timeline for some account that I don't follow. So thank you to whoever that was who suggested that.
It's a disaster of an album. Anyways, Matt, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. You know, you're welcome anytime you want to jump on with us. So
absolutely, gentlemen. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of the stream. And hopefully, the next time I see you, I'll be employed.
See you, man.
See ya
later.
All right, Cleve.
Yeah.
Matt's out. Scott has no Wi-Fi in his underground bunker in northern Michigan. So it's you and I the rest of the way.
Yep. Start.
Titans 22, Cardinals 21, and one of the most infuriating games I've ever seen in my life.
I actually bet money line for the Titans to win, and I just had a feeling.
So in this game, the Cardinals are up 21-6. Amari DiMarcado, who is a real person, and breaks open into the open field on a running play. He's going to score a 70-yard rushing touchdown to make it 28-6 in the middle of the third quarter. Instead, he decides to drop the football to start his celebration a micromillimeter before the goal line, but clear enough to where it's definitely a fumble. Rolls out of the end zone, touchback, Titans. The Titans score a touchdown, miss the extra point. It's 21-12. Titans get the ball back. They drive down the field a bit. Cam Ward throws a horrible rookie-level interception that the Cardinals player firmly catches and then fumbles with no contact. Another Cardinal kicks it into the end zone where Tyler Lockett, who is now a Titan, Tyler Lockett jumps on it for a touchdown. 21-19. Then the Cardinals just need to run the ball for a first down to kill the clock. They can't do it. They punt it back. And out of nowhere, Cam Ward turns into prime Joe Montana and starts dotting up Jerry Rice. I mean, Calvin Ridley down the field, game-winning field goal, Titans win. I don't see, Cleve, how the Cardinals come back from this and how they don't just absolutely collapse. Their season is over.
Yeah. I mean, let's address the thing about the fumble. We talk. The four of us always talk offline, and it's always entertaining. The fact that in 2025 that this is still a thing, it's happening on every level of football, from probably except for probably Pee Wee, because they probably drill it to the guys, hold the ball until you break the plane. But high school, college, pros, guys are still doing this. It should be a $50,000 fine at best for starters. A subsequent situation, you might lose a couple of games, and then if you do it a third time, you're off the team. I don't know how you legislate or how you police this or what punishment there is. I did have some feelings about the coach. I don't mind for coach yells and screams is what they get paid to do, but to when he physically hit this guy, I wasn't a fan of that. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that, but that wasn't the head coach, was it?
Yeah, I was head coach because he came
was.
out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. He came out and
like
apologized later. He came out and apologized later, which again, I don't know if the surge or the backlash caused that, but the fact that you can yell all you want. I don't think there's any place in football for a coach to hit a player or a player to hit a coach. Like when we're doing that, that's something different because again, football is such a machismo sport. When this guy goes home and his kid says, he gets tough with the kids, do the kids say, "Daddy," but the guy just punched you in the chest. You didn't do shit. Or he gets into it with the wife, and the wife's getting, saying, "Hey, all this energy for me," but when the guy accosted you on the sideline, you didn't do anything. In a nutshell, I wasn't a fan of even when Russell got yelled at by Sean Payton. The way I mean, Russell handled it like a true gentleman. But the kid's obviously distraught. He's upset. I get it. And then you punch the kid. Like I just felt some kind of way about that.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I agree that there's no place for that. There's only been one time I've seen a coach get physical with a player, and I thought it was appropriate. It's when Woody Hayes punched that guy. No, I'm kidding. 2004 season opener or second game or season opener early on, Chad Henne's freshman year at Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're playing San Diego State. Game is over. Chad Henne takes a couple steps back and drops to take a knee, right, to get the clock to line up. San Diego State defensive end comes around the line, cheap shots him, right? Hits him right in the back. Head coach from San Diego State sprints onto the field, grabs him by the face mask, and drags him like coach is walking backwards, players walking forward, drags him off the field by the face mask while screaming at him. And it's the only time I thought, you know what, that's actually appropriate because what he did makes the entire program look bad. It was really dangerous, and I kind of got it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that type of stuff. Yes. And again, I've saw a lot of takes on this online. Different. When I played high school ball, a coach was allowed to yell at you by grabbing the face mask and like, "Hey, what's wrong with you?" And I didn't think anything was wrong with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've never been hit by a coach, like punched or pushed or shoved or, you get called names, you get called asshole, pussy, whatever. Like, you get called stuff. But to hit it, I just felt that was kind of, and I'm glad he apologized, whether the pressure mounted or not. I'm glad he said something to the kid, but obviously it cost him the game because it took 6 points off the board, right? Well, not even off the board. It erased 6 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and football is a game of inches. And again, I just don't know in 2025 why don't you just run out of the back of the end zone? We've seen. I sent you guys video of Vic Ballard for the Colts back in the day getting twisted up like a thing. He held on to the ball. Reggie Bush jumping damn near 7 yards to break the plane. The purpose
just
is to
make sure
you're
in the end zone. Just make sure you're 2 steps into the end zone before you let the ball go.
Yeah, I just don't get it. The excitement of it, I just don't get that one. That was very hard for me to explain And I'll be if I'm on that team and we lose, and that's a potential of why we lost. I'm pissed. I'm like, dude, we lost the game because of that.
Yeah, I think now they may not have cut him because of the punching incident, but I don't see how you don't cut this guy. It's not like he's, if Christian McCaffrey does this, I can't cut him. But
Yeah.
Amari DiMarcado, like, welcome to the Arlington Renegades. I just don't. I don't see how you can't cut him to send a message to the entire team there. But what a horrible loss! And I think the Cardinal season is over. I think they might, lose. They might win 2 more games all season. It could just completely fall out on them.
You were high on them in the preseason previews. You were high on them.
Not as high as Ben, who took them to win the division.
Yeah, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But I agree with you. It's not a good look. I think the team psyche, I think it's shot. I don't know what else they do in that spot. So we'll see.
Game of the week, in my opinion, Buccaneers 38, Seahawks 35. Baker Mayfield, 29 of 33, 379 yards, 2 touchdowns.
God's stud, man. I told you, to go into Tampa having to fill Tom Brady's shoes, although Tom was only there a couple years, but to win the Super Bowl, and have to kind of back up that. Baker found himself a home, and it seems to be working with Todd Bowles. But as Matt alluded to, or maybe you, he's willing to play football, and that's what I love about him. Scrappy, doesn't want to lose, last minute heroics. He's a great quarterback. So good for him, man. He shows up with that wheelbarrow every week.
Yeah, he to me now is the new Matt Stafford, where it's just like, if you're not up by 2 scores, you're tied.
Yeah.
Like the tie, like they're gonna score.
Yeah.
So be winning by 2 scores, or you're actually in a tie game.
That's without Mike Evans, bro. That's without his go-to.
Well, the go-to might be Emeka Egbuka now.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. So, Mike, they might be having that talk with Mike, like, hey, we're going to move you to the number 2 spot. You okay with that?
Yeah, because that, and the thing is, too, I always knew Egbuka would be good, mainly because I watched every single snap he played in college because he went to Ohio State and know your enemy.
Yeah.
But at Ohio State, he was always the number 2. He was always behind Jackson Smith-Njigba or Marvin Harrison or Jeremiah Smith, who's only a true sophomore this year. He never emerged as the number 1 himself. But neither did Justin Jefferson with Jamar Chase. And neither did Jalen Waddle with Devontae Smith. And I feel like just watching Egbuka, I was like, no, I think this guy's actually really, really, really good. And even I'm shocked by how good this dude is in the NFL. Get Offensive Rookie of the Year. If he doesn't get hurt, that's locked up.
Yeah.
Lions 37, Bengals 24. A game that was not this close. The Lions were up 37 to -10. It doesn't matter until late. The coolest thing about this game to me was the David Montgomery storyline. I'm not usually huge on the storylines like this, but this was a great one. Clev, are you familiar with this?
No, first time hearing about it.
So David Montgomery is from Cincinnati.
Okay.
His sister about a year ago was in a really bad car accident and was paralyzed.
Wow.
So she can't travel anymore. So she has not seen him play in person until this weekend because he has to be back in Cincinnati for her to be able to go in person, right? And it's not like a money issue because he's got it like that, right? It's just like she just can't do that travel. So going into this week, talk about fantasy and stuff, we're like, David Montgomery comes preloaded with the touchdown. There's no way Dan Campbell doesn't get this dude a touchdown in front of his sister, right?
Yeah.
He played a high school quarterback. He became a running back at Iowa State.
Okay.
So Dan Campbell calls up the halfback option so David Montgomery could throw a touchdown in Cincinnati in front of his sister. Nice. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
That's dope. I love when either there's a revenge game or a game where there's a feel good somewhere in there. Yeah.
And then David Montgomery scored a rushing touchdown after, and by then, like, the entire crowd was sort of knowing the situation. And there's this great scene where the sister is there with the family. She's sitting like in the, the handicap section behind the seats. And Montgomery scores, and like her family's coming, and a Bengals fan stands up, turns around, and daps her up.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Even though like it was clear the team was gonna lose, but just because like it was so cool. Like it was really, really amazing. It was one of those things like, why do we love sports so much? We can forget about that sometimes, but this was clearly one of those reasons.
Dope.
Jamar Chase had like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns just because.
He's just trying to get stats to justify a paycheck.
The thing is, when you're that good, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, no, it's
Jake Brown is your quarterback. He's being replaced by Joe Flacco. Who cares? I'm Jamar Chase. Sometimes it'll happen.
As me and Matt said, because it comes from boxing where you're getting this shit kicked out of you, and then you sit down like, Coach, what do I do? Like, just do your best. Like, I have no other instructions. I have nothing else for you. Just do your best.
The Lions play at Kansas City on Sunday night. The Lions are going to win by at least 10 points.
I can buy some of that.
We are going to, worst case scenario, handle the Chiefs, but we might throttle them.
Okay.
So get ready to learn how to speak 2 and 4, Kansas City. Commanders 27, Chargers 10. Jaden Daniels comes back. The Commanders become the Commanders again. Go out to LA. Absolutely handle the Chargers.
Yeah, a little shocker.
Game was never close. Do you remember the TikTok that I made talking about drafting a particular running back that we have like 9,000 views on, Clev?
No.
So I said on the show in the preseason that everybody needs to draft Ja'Cory Krusky-Merritt, but he's going undrafted because he would be the starting running back for the Commanders by week 8. And he was free in drafts. 14 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the road in Los Angeles for the breakout game.
It jogs my memory of now what you said about him. Yes, I now remember the name and everything.
Remember he was the guy who couldn't play his senior year because the NCAA got his number confused with another guy.
Yeah,
and made him sit out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the guy. 14 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. I hope everybody listened to me. Personally, I think that TikTok should hit about 2 million views, as prescient as it was. But yeah, Chargers come out with a 10-0 lead. Washington comes back, rolls right through them. Jaden Daniels, 15 of 26, 231, touchdown, good running. But it's clear the Commanders, no Terry McLaurin in this game. They have an identity. They know what they want to do. Sunday Night Football, Patriots 23, Bills 20, Drake May 22 of 30, 273 yards, led a 37-yard drive for the game-winning field goal, 15 seconds left. I think Scott needs to admit Drake May is good.
I think so too. We got to hear it. We got to hear it out of his mouth with his voice.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it for him, but I think it's time. It's time we hear that. Your boy Stephon Diggs,
man,
his girl Cardi B is beefing with Nicki Minaj now. He knows he's got to go out there, show up. He can't be giving fodder to Nicki. 10 catches, 146 yards.
Yeah, he had himself a game.
In a revenge game of Buffalo.
Yeah. Great. I love those games. I love when a guy just goes back and just annihilates the squad. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. It's more fun when Matt Stafford comes to the Lions in the playoffs and loses, but but these games are fun. And with this win, I think the Patriots actually a lock now to make the playoffs, injuries, all that. But this was a game where, like, when it's close at the end of the season and they're 1.5 games up, you realize that one game is a win at Buffalo. That's going to be the deciding factor that puts them in over Pittsburgh and the Chargers and whoever else is sort of hanging around there. I think they're gonna get there for sure because of this. Although I actually think they're gonna win 10 or 11 games.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
I was high on him.
And then finally here we have Monday night. Did you stay up to watch the Monday night game? Cleve, are you there? Cleve's Wi-Fi may have frozen.
Yeah, you did too. So I think you're back.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay. Perfect. Did you stay up to watch the Monday night game?
It kind of watched me a little bit. So I've been running some really, really hardcore hours, bro. That's why I was late tonight.
I know. That's why I asked. That's why I didn't just presume that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did. Also, is it kind of watched me Guyanese proverb or a New Jersey proverb?
A little bit of both, I think.
Okay, because I've never heard that. That's really good.
Yeah.
Jaguars 31, Chiefs 28. Trevor Lawrence's stumble 6. Unbelievable to win this game. Guard steps on his foot. He falls back, gets up, falls down again, gets up, goes to throw the ball away, realizes nobody is around him, and runs in for the game-winning touchdown.
I mean, it's the stuff of legend. Like you couldn't script that in a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
And it was the way you just teed it up is exactly how it should have been called. Guard steps on his foot. He's stumbling, looking around. Where do I throw this? I got to tuck it and get there.
Yeah.
You know? Sweet. Travis Hunter, though, bro. Travis Hunter. That catch was insane.
Travis Hunter is one of those guys he is a rare athlete.
Oh, yeah.
And I think if he had played baseball, he'd be elite. If he had played basketball, he'd be elite for his height. And I think if he played soccer, he'd be in the Premier League. Like, I think he could have done whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right? If you had thrown him on skates when he was young, I bet he's a great hockey player. You know, he's just an elite athlete, and the catch showed that. Also, I found out something I didn't know. When he was at Colorado, he never practiced on offense.
No, not at all. They just put him out there. So I don't know if you ever watched Prime on Amazon Prime. They Prime on Amazon Prime, right? They talked about that. So they mentioned it one time that he doesn't practice with the ones, or he doesn't practice take any snaps. And Dion was like, he's just a rare athlete. He's kind of a decoy, but we're gonna give him the ball anyway because he's gonna get doubled, which opens up Horn and the other guys. So his reps really were for defense, but the offense thing was that he might catch a couple balls here and there, but he's really a decoy to pull defenders, pull like the number 1 or 2 defender off. So yeah.
Speaking real quick, your boy Jimmy Horn, couple catches, including a big catch on the game-winning drive for the Panthers. So looks like he might stick as like a 6th, 7th round pick. So because I knew that was your boy at Colorado. The Devin Lloyd 99-yard pick 6. Amazing play. First, he baits Mahomes, which I didn't even know was possible, into throwing it directly into his chest. Then he breaks Mahomes' ankles on the return. Tyquan Thornton catches up at the end, goes to punch the ball, and Lloyd senses him and covers it up to go in for a touchdown. Amazing play.
Yeah, smart thing to do with a football over the guy over the thing, right? It's kind of like what they teach you to do in Pee Wee football.
Yeah. You mean instead of just dropping it and starting your celebration?
Yeah, all the way through.
Yeah. No, this game was crazy because Lawrence fumbled on the goal line. We have a 99-yard pick 6, Travis Hunter catch, the stumble 6, and all that. The reason the Chiefs lost this game was special teams. First of all, the game's tied. They set up the Jaguars game-winning drive because Harrison Butker kicks it out of bounds. So the Jags do the ball at the 40. Just nonsense.
Can't do that in that spot. Can't do that.
No. There was a bunch of penalties on special teams too. It was just a really sloppy game from Kansas City here, and the better team deserved to win on the night. The Jaguars were better. Yeah,
we said this about Kansas City in the last couple of years. That especially last year, all those near almost winning, almost losing games. Yep. It's catching up now. It's catching up, and teams they're taking the bait and say, you know what, this team's beatable. I can beat them.
Yep, absolutely. So last thing I want to point out in this game, the Jaguars, Cleve, are 4-1.
When you guys said that, like, I think you guys said it a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, they're 4-1. I had them left for dead. I had them where we're at, where the Jets is at. I had them there.
Do you remember before the season, I said, look out, the Jags might win 12 games this year.
Yeah, you did say that. Yeah.
And that's why I thought the Colts weren't going to be good either. The Jags could just, like, if Travis Hunter's starting to find his stride here, like, they might just mess around and win a flurry of games.
I mean, they're due. They're due.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting there. All right, we're about to get out of here. Thank you, everybody who joined us in the chat. Paul, thank you. Matty Ice, thank you for joining us earlier. Cleve, do you have any final thoughts?
I know I probably missed it, or if Matt mentioned it or whatever. Obviously, we know what's going on with the federal government. The work. I have a lot of friends that are affected by this, and it just sucks that we have the two-party system. That's probably, I don't know, your thoughts on that, but these guys are playing political chicken with people's lives, and it's not cool. So I'm hoping everyone gets back to work and get back to a paycheck and get back to taking care of what they need to take care of their families, because these guys ain't hurting for it in Congress. These guys are able to, whether you're Republican or Democrat, they can buy a gallon of gas or dozen eggs. It's fine for them. But the common person, although some government salaries are pretty good, everyone still makes a living, and it sucks that we're in this position where we're 9 months into this thing, and it just feels like it's been 2 years, maybe.
Yep.
But yeah, something's got to give, because this shit's out of control.
So I have thoughts on this here on political football.
Yeah,
this is to me one of those things where, while I do wish we had multiple parties, although our system's not set up for that, I do wish we had multiple parties. This is a case to where this is not a two-party problem. This is a Republican problem. The Democrats will not negotiate on extending the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act after the Republicans extended those tax breaks for billionaires permanently. If they do not extend this subsidy, the price for Obamacare is going to triple on average for people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever used Obamacare. I did a couple times in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And incredible, $400 a month back then. Now it's like 600 or so. If a family is on that at 600 a month and it's going to go up to $1,800 a month, like, that's the sort of thing you have to stand on business for. And especially because if the Obamacare market jumps up that much, what's going to happen to the cost of healthcare for the rest of us?
Yeah, which is criminal in a first world country.
Yes,
that's criminal.
Yeah, this is not something like, so for example, I don't think that we should say under God in the Pledge of Allegiance, because the Pledge of Allegiance is a secular thing that we do in school or whatever, and God, and you separate church and state, right? I have no problem with somebody saying it. I'm just saying we shouldn't make it mandatory when we say it in school. If the Democrats were shutting down the government to get under God, take out the Pledge of Allegiance, I would lose my shit, right? Even though I agree with it, I would not be okay with this. But this, they cannot budge on this. And I don't care how long it takes, they cannot budge on this. The downstream effects of the cost of Obamacare tripling is way worse than the immediate effects of the government shutdown, even though I know them to be bad. Like, Democrats do not control the House, the Senate, the presidency, or the courts. There are very few places where they can actually exercise some sort of authority. And this is one place where they absolutely have to do it. This is a issue of pure moral clarity. They cannot back down on this. And they can't take some haphazard, half-baked, whatever solution. Those subsidies must be extended through, in my opinion, through like 2030. So this doesn't have to come up again. Right?
Yeah.
And so the shutdown is horrible. I feel bad for everybody who's out of work because of it, everybody whose job is crazy because of it. I work in the travel and tourism industry in Washington, D.C. It is not good for me personally. My employment doesn't change, but the nature of the employment changes, right?
Yeah.
And the Democrats need to stand on this. No negotiation, no backing down. We want to extend already existing subsidies at their current levels. That's it. We only need to find extra money for it. We want to extend them at the current levels and not increase money going to healthcare companies. Right. And so while I do think sometimes there is like the two parties are kind of stubborn, don't really know what the average person is feeling or going through, I don't think it applies in this case. I think the Democrats are right on point that this is something that directly impacts actual everyday people. And God damn it, they're not going to move off of it.
Yeah.
And Republicans control all government. Like, and also, how come government always shuts down when there's a Republican president, Republican House?
I just kind of figured that out a couple of days ago. I'm like, it's like a thing.
Right. Right. Because if you campaign that government is broken and isn't there to help, and then you get in power, you won't know how to govern. Right. Yeah. You have to campaign on government can work to make people's lives in the country better. And then we disagree on what that means and how to make it better. But you can't be like, government sucks, it won't do anything for you, everything about it is horrible, because when you get power, you will make that come true. Right. And that's why, starting really with Ronald Reagan, every time Republicans are in office, the deficit balloons, the debt goes up, quality of life gets bad, there's recessions. How could there not be? They're literally campaigning that government can't do shit for you.
Yeah.
You know, what did Ronald Reagan say? What's the worst thing you can hear? We're from the government. We're here to help. Yes. Tell that shit to FEMA.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Yeah. Tell that shit to the 101st Airborne. You know, you're visiting some African country. Some warlord takes it over. And next thing you know, you got SEAL Team 6 coming to exfiltrate you or whatever. Right. Yeah. I am trying to hear that. Tell that to the people in Flint when the water is bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
So the shutdowns in general are a Republican problem, right? This one in particular is really a Republican problem, and I fully back Democrats not backing down on this, no matter how painful the shutdown gets. Giving in and letting these prices triple would be way worse for way more people and directly threaten lives, because if people can't afford it, they just won't pay for it.
Yeah, and die.
Exactly.
Depending on what they're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough.
No, this is one of those things where, like, no, we are not budging. We are not budging. I wish they had this attitude for Gaza, but you know what? Yeah. They got it for this.
Yeah.
And so, hey, let's keep it right here for this.
All right.
There we go. Clev got me going.
Political football. We actually, as the show has evolved over the years, we used to be a lot more political for any new listeners, but that's about as political as we'll get. We try to keep the football going, but our true nature, why we were created, was to kind of give our takes, as Dave eloquently put it.
Well, and also we talk about when politics intersect with sports a lot.
Yeah.
But notice that when Republicans are in power, there's not as much shut up and dribble rhetoric.
Nope.
Nope. Interesting.
Weird.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like the show, share the show. Even if you only share it with me or Clev, share it with somebody. That helps the spread. If you want to leave YouTube comments, that helps as well. And we'll be back next week to discuss the Week 6 action, including the Detroit Lions destroying the Kansas City Chiefs. Peace.